What if the most remote places in America aren't just wild, but useful? Because there's a strange pattern hiding in plain sight. Clusters of missing persons in places like Yosemite. And many of these clusters share the same terrain: granite, water, boulder fields. That might not mean anything until you realize those are exactly the conditions you need to hide something underground. In this book, Missing 411 Off the Grid by Dave Paulides, he mentions a recurring detail that keeps showing up. Clusters of disappearances in and around Yosemite National Park, but more specifically in areas filled with granite, boulders, and often water nearby. According to data presented by Paulides, Yosemite has one of the largest concentrations of these cases anywhere in the world. And when you step outside the park, those numbers begin to drop, except in other parts of the Sierra Nevada mountains where the same kind of granite terrain exists. Elsewhere in the US, where also granite terrain like this exists. Now, on its own, that could mean a lot of things. But there's another piece to this puzzle. A 1979 technical manual from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers discusses something most people never think about. How do you cool a massive underground facility? At extreme depths, thousands of feet below the surface, heat becomes a serious problem, not just from machinery, power systems, possibly nuclear reactors, computers, and living creatures, maybe more than just humans, but from the surrounding rock itself, which at a depth of 4,000 feet may be as warm as 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 32 degrees Celsius. I said 4,000 feet because that's the number referenced by the Army Corps of Engineers, according to author Richard Sauder. Forgive me, I may have mispronounced that Richard Sauder, I'm not sure. But without constant, reliable cooling, these systems fail. People get cranky. Reptilians get the munchies. That 1979 manual outlines several solutions using cool water resources like rivers and lakes, circulating through heat exchangers, after which the water is returned to its source or pumped to a different waste location. Even constructing enormous, massive underground heat sinks filled with ice. But when I was reading Richard Sauder's book, one method jumped out at me: heat dissipation through boulder fields. Richard Sauder writes in his book, Underwater and Underground Bases, that according to anonymous sources, he's been told directly that air conduits can be drilled from a deep underground facility up into piles of broken rock. From the surface, it just looks like a naturally formed boulder field, but underneath, heat is being vented quietly, continuously, and more importantly, secretly. So now we have two ideas. One, of course, these clusters of unexplained disappearances in granite-heavy regions like Yosemite. And number two, we have documented methods for concealing underground ventilation systems using those exact kinds of environments. Granite boulder fields, remote terrain, access to water, natural cover. Does that mean there's a deep underground facility somewhere beneath Yosemite? I'm a guitarist. I have zero proof of anything. But if I was gonna build a deep underground facility, I'd need some cooling, probably, if I could dig deep enough. I'm pretty good at digging holes. My parents made me do that a lot as a kid. I hate digging holes. I don't do it anymore. You also need concealment. And you need a landscape that doesn't raise any questions. A landscape like Yosemite. Another interesting consideration is the proximity of China Lake Naval Air Weapons Station to Yosemite. which according to Google Maps is less than 200 miles, which is under 321 kilometers in a straight line. Why did I choose China Lake for that measurement? That's for another video.